we are going to be hosting a virtual gala on June 11th. So you have probably received an email from us asking for nominations so that we can recognize and honor all of the amazing people in this organization that have done so much to make it as successful as it has been. So please take a moment and go check your email, or just go onto the MPI San Diego website and nominate someone to for an award. They all deserve, every one of you deserves an award in this chapter. You're all great people. You're all amazing volunteers and wonderful members. I didn't say anything to you. So technical difficulties, welcome to Zoom or Siri. So please take a moment, go online and nominate someone so that we can take some time and recognize all those wonderful people when we do get together virtually. And then the last thing that I want to mention is that we are going to have a professional development program, a virtual one, on May 19th. So please keep an eye out for that and make sure that you attend so that you can get a glimpse into some of the fun things that MPI's professional development team has been working on. I'm going to turn this over to Iwana right now, but again, thank you all for joining us. We're really excited about the program that we've got ahead. I hope you're all staying super safe and healthy and sane, and like me, a little drunk. No.
Hey, Alyssa,
I want to take it away.
Alyssa, Megan, just real quick, wanted to emphasize that that program is not being put on by MPI. It's being put on by us, by me specifically. Okay. All right, just so everyone knows, it's a local that we're doing for you all versus one of the academy or whatever sessions that MPI is providing.
Correct. Thank you, Megan, for making that very clear. Yes, this is a San Diego local thing that we're putting on. It's not related to the MPI professional development stuff that's currently out there. All right, I want to take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We're very excited, like Alyssa said, and Megan as well. First of all, I just want to thank you for taking the time for the past social hours to come and join us. We're very excited today to have a wonderful company, Snake Oil. I think everybody had the opportunity over the years to taste their wonderful cocktail, Frankie. You see this lovely young man right here. He's going to be talking. They do have a wonderful website where you can take a look at the different craft cocktails they offer, and also the beverage and catering that they have for wonderful events and so forth. Frankie is actually a partner with Michael. I think a lot of you know Michael and Saul. He's been a culinary for a long time, and he's a master cocktail craftsman. And I'm gonna let him take it away and describe to us what he's gonna be doing today. But I do want to let you guys know that we are gonna be recording this session. So just a heads up. Thank you so much. Frankie. You're on, Frankie. Oh.
You gotta unmute yourself, Frankie, or can Aaron unmute you?
Okay, sorry about that. I thought I was leaving myself in the host hands. I wasn't sure. Okay, pardon me, but thank you. Welcome, everybody. And seeing a lot of familiar faces out there, which is awesome. I'm really stoked that we're able to do a little sharing with you. As mentioned, thank you, Iwana. Snake Oil Cocktail Company. We've been around since 2010 and have worked with a lot of you in the past and seen you at events. So this is exciting for us. I'm here today at Julep Venue, which is our newest venue closer to downtown in Mission Hills Midtown area, where we started hosting events. And we're really looking forward to everything kind of coming back around so we can open our doors again. I'm in Julep Cafe. I'm gonna make you a cocktail today that's one of my favorites for a springtime cocktail. And everybody probably had their margarita fill the last couple days. So I didn't want to go in the margarita direction. I wanted to do something that was really fresh and vibrant and easy to make, as well as interesting and allowing you to put your own twist on it. If you were able to get some of the ingredients that we mentioned, you'll be able to kind of walk through this with me. I'll tell you about some of the things that we're going to be using to make the cocktail so that you're aware. So for starters, you're going to need a spirit, obviously. We had mentioned that you could use tequila, you can use vodka, you can use bourbon, you can use any of these types of spirits, because the smash that we're going to make is really almost more about the ingredients that you're putting into it and not as much about the actual spirit that you're using. So this is a backbone for it, but we're really talking about the berries and the herbs and the citrus that we're using that's really going to make this vibrant. So I'm choosing bourbon because that's where I rest my hat. And we'll talk a little bit more about bourbon before we make the cocktail. Also going to need some kind of a sweetener. In this case, I'm using a simple syrup that I've made using demerara sugar and a little bit of water. I'm doing a 50-50 variation. You might have agave syrup, agave nectar, or maybe you've gone ahead and made your own simple syrup. The next thing that I have is going to be a citrus. Pretty much with a smash, you always want to use lemon or lime. So whichever one you've bought, there's just a slight variation in the recipe, but I'll tell you about that as we go through and make it so that you know exactly how you should make your particular cocktail. The other ingredients that are here are the real fresh ingredients. We've got some fresh basil. You can see I just got from the market today, and some fresh blackberries. And the blackberries, because of the heat that's been coming on, they're just getting really nice and ripe right now, so they're really vibrant. You might have raspberries or strawberries, blueberries. Any type of soft, malleable fruit is going to work in this. And so really we're just giving you kind of a blueprint, and you can kind of go from there and make it happen. Now, the reason I chose bourbon, and bourbon itself, is I really enjoy kind of some of the wood flavors I'm getting from the oak aging. Most bourbons are going to be at least about 70% corn product in their mash. So they're going to end up having a natural sweetness to it, as well as some of the vanillas and cinnamons that you're going to get from a minimum of 3-year aging. The Maker's Mark is one of my favorites because it's a little higher proof. So no matter what cocktail you use it in, it will sing through and you'll still taste that bourbon. But you might have vodka, tequila, whatever spirit you've chosen to use at home. And I'm just going to go ahead and produce and make it with those particular products. So let's get started. If you have a cocktail tin, you're going to want to take off the bottom half or the smaller half. If you don't have a tin at home, you can use this, any type of glass, to kind of mash this in, just so long as you have something to mash it with. And where did my mysterious muddler go? Okay, so I'm going to use my bar spoon for mashing. You can use a spoon, a fork. If you have a muddler, you can use your muddler and get in there and whip up those things. So we're going to start off by taking our berries and muddling them. Now, if you have blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, whatever you have, let's grab about 6 to 8 of those. Those look perfect. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is mash up our berries before we put our herbs in, because we don't want to mash the herbs up as much. We just want to get that fruit to be kind of a nice mushed consistency. So hopefully you're following along and doing this at home. And once you've kind of got them really nice and mashed up, we can go ahead and add our herbs. Now the herbs, you can use stuff from your garden. I suggested basil or mint, but tarragon works great. Oregano actually makes really vibrant and flavored cocktails. With the herbs, we're going to go ahead and pick about 4 to 6 leaves. So depending on the size of the leaf, you want to try to really get an average. Now the thing with your herbs is you want to wake them up more than you want to smash them up. So if we smash them up, we're going to bring out the chlorophyll, and the plant is going to add some bitterness to the cocktail that you may not want there. So we're going to go ahead now and mash up our herbs by just kind of gently pressing into them and turning your muddler, your spoon, whatever it is you're using. So see how I improvised? I forgot my muddler. So anyhow, this works out great. So I've broken up my herbs, I woke them up, I didn't completely destroy them. Now I'm going to want to add my sweetener and my citrus. So here's where things might vary if you're using lemon or lime juice. Lemon tends to be a little bit more acidic than lime. Lime is going to be a little sweeter. So you're going to vary the amount that you use just a little bit. The other thing is I went ahead and squeezed this about 3 hours ago. So if you're planning for a group of people and you want to pre-squeeze some of your citrus, it's actually a really great thing. because as the citrus starts to oxidize, you pull out some of the floral notes and you reduce the acidity, so it's not overly acidic on your palate. It's a bartender trick, and that's one of the reasons why you don't see bartenders doing a la minute cocktails anymore, because we learned that the aging of the citrus actually improves the flavor of the cocktail. So the one thing that will remain constant is going to be the amount of citrus that we use. So whether you're using lemon juice or lime juice, you're just going to go ahead and use 3/4 of an ounce. If you have a jigger, that's the best way to measure that. If you don't, it's 1.5 tablespoons. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my lemon juice inside. The next one is the sweetener. So the sweetener is going to have a little bit of a variance on it. So this is where if you're using simple syrup or agave nectar, it's really going to be the same thing. If you use lime juice, you're going to want to put the same exact amount of sweetener in there. That'll be 3/4 of an ounce. I use lemon juice, which I mentioned is a little more acidic. So I'm going to actually add an extra 1/4 ounce. I'm going to go up to a full ounce of simple syrup. Okay. All right. The next thing that you're gonna need, of course, is going to be your spirit. Is anybody else out there using bourbon? You can show me your bottle of bourbon. Nice. Oh, Maker's Mark. I like your style there. So once again, if you're using whatever spirit you're using, it's all going to be relative to that. So you're just going to use the same amount. If you really like a strong drink, you can add an extra 1/2 ounce, but the ratio that I'm giving you will give you a nice clean cocktail with a little bit of spirit to taste, or enough spirit to taste that makes it worthwhile. We're going to use 1.5 ounces. So once again, if you have a jigger, you'll do 1.5 ounces. If you don't have a jigger, you're going to go ahead and do, that would see 1.5 ounces, that would be 3 tablespoons. So a tablespoon essentially is 1/2 ounce. Okay, great. Okay, now let me grab some ice and we'll do the next step here. Okay, the next thing you want to do is grab your glass. Now, the glass that you use is really kind of a choice for yourself and what you enjoy. I like a double old-fashioned glass. Let's just call that we'll call it right about 13 or 14 ounces. Most of you have something like a tumbler or something like that at home. Okay, on the ice side, there's a lot of custom ice out there now. You see a lot of people that are doing things with like real custom ice cubes, big cubes, clear cubes. You can use all of that if you like, but your standard ice from your refrigerator or the stuff that you're making in your freezer is going to be just fine. The first thing you're going to do is add some ice to your glass so that your vessel is ready. The next thing we're going to do is add ice to our shaking tin. So that we can shake our cocktail. Now, if you're doing this in a glassware type of situation at home, you're stirring, same difference, you're still gonna wanna put the ice in here and have ice there. So we're gonna go ahead and put the larger tin on top and then turn it over. Now there's 3.5 reasons why we shake cocktails. One reason is to chill the cocktail. The second reason is to mix the cocktail. The third reason is to dilute the cocktail, so actually take away from some of the concentration of those flavors. The half reason is because it looks cool. There's no real right or wrong way to shake. The main thing is you want to just make sure you secure the tin, and then you give it a good shake for about 10 seconds. Okay. Now, if you're using a tin and you have a hawthorn strainer, you're going to want to close the spring portion of your hawthorn strainer to keep out some of the detritus from the muddled blackberry and basil. It's okay to shake the glass a little bit. The ice is going to settle a little bit. There we go. Now, once we've prepared our cocktail, the next most important thing is some kind of garnish. Otherwise, it just looks like purple punch in a glass. So I always like to accentuate it with something that was in the cocktail. In this particular case, we did use some basil. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a basil flag here. And then I like to keep dried citrus around because it lasts forever. If you have a food dryer at home, you can make these and keep them around forever. The lemons, when you over dry them, they get almost a blood orange quality to them. They just add a nice splash of color. Now we can see our smashed cocktail. So just a little bit so you can see the garnish inside. And hopefully you all were able to make that along with me. And right now we can go ahead and have a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Frankie. I see a couple of drinks out there. So some people definitely followed along. I saw some made with vodka.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frankie.
We have a question for you. They're asking, would you guys be able to deliver during this time?
So I think we could definitely make some special deliveries. At the moment, we're not 100% set up for it. What we do have is an online marketplace where people can go and look at some of the things we have, including our mix. We've been doing a Friday night drive-through where we'll partner up with a caterer or two and have people drive through the Julep parking lot. You can pre-order and you can pick your things up. It happens 4 to 6 Friday, so it just happens that tomorrow there's going to be. We haven't really otherwise set up a delivery system unless it's a positive.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So Julep on Friday night, you can drive through and get pre-order stuff. Michael, are you here on the chat?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Do you want to say a couple things before we move on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so basically, what we're doing here at Snake Oil is, essentially we're putting together a virtual bar program, and we can actually deliver. It's just an additional fee. We're working that out now to try to figure out the best way to do that. And then we also have a drive-through program that we've been instituting at Julep, where people can come through, they can buy cocktail mix and just really, have a fun time. It's contactless. We just drop things into people's trunks of their cars and they drive off, and it's been really a fun program.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it and continuing your support in our organization.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Frankie and Michael. We appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Y'all made it fun.
Well, now that everybody has a cocktail, either something they followed along and made with Frankie today, or they brought their own, we have the next part of our program, and we're pretty excited for this one. We are going to do some digital drawing, and joining us today is Terrell Hansen from Frame the Message Inc. So we're super excited to have her. This is what she's going to be doing for us, kind of digitally. You might have seen this in person, and she's brought it to us through our meetings today. So I will go ahead and let Terrell take over, and she'll explain and get us started.
Great. Hi, my name's Terrell Hansen, and if you can find me amongst the sea of people, good luck with that. This is a great turnout. I'm really excited to be doing this. This is an area of work that some of you may have actually seen done live. If you've been in an event or a conference, a meeting where a visual note taker has been a part of the learning space. This is kind of my first, well, not my first go at, but fairly new at the virtual recording. However, I've been thrust into an environment where experimentation is king. So I am here to do some virtual recording using my iPad. I've already started kind of drawing a little bit based on our introductions. And I'm going, what I'd like to really just kind of say is that the attempt of doing virtual recording or even graphic recording live is really to engage kind of some hearts and minds around some complex and interesting ideas. And so I know your facilitators are in good hands with them as they guide you through some specific questions and brainstorms. But in the meantime, feel free to kind of pin the video or next to the speaker in your view if you'd like to have a better, more up close view at what's happening. But you'll also be receiving a JPEG of the completed piece at the end of this, so you can watch as it unfolds, but just certainly don't let it interfere with your ability to participate verbally, as all of your ideas as they come together will find themselves in a nice picture. So what I'm gonna do right now, with your permission there, Carrie, is do a little screen share so you can kind of see what we're up to here. And once you see my screen.
While you do that, I just want to let everybody know that you're going to have to unmute and mute yourself when you're going to speak. And just please make sure you mute yourself back up.
All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, give me 1 minute. Share. Okay, so what you'll be seeing here in a minute is just the screen. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be muting myself here in just a moment so that all you'll see in the background is some of that drawing as you continue your conversation. So God willing, this is going to stop zooming or stop scrolling.
So while we're waiting, we do want to thank all of our members for continuing to be members in our community. And we are always looking for volunteers as we're starting a new year, 2021, with a new board. And if anybody's interested in volunteering, let us know.
Hey, thanks, Alana. So for Terrell today, what we want to focus on is how are we going to continue to show our strengths of our MPI San Diego community? We know as a chapter, we've been doing great and we want to continue to show support for each other. So everybody gets to throw out ideas and we get to like bounce off of those. We might call on you as well and ask you what your idea is for continuing to show your strength. So one, like maybe we're going to continue to throw events like in person, or they're going to be hybrid events, or we are going to buy MPI. So we're going to focus on continuing to support our community by buying MPI here in San Diego.
Carrie, this is Erin. I love that. Buy MPI was something I had written down earlier of really continuing, and we've already had that mission. And Victor did awesome photography for a handful of us a couple weeks ago, or gosh, I guess it was early this week. I don't know. But I think that Buy MPI is really big and important to keep supporting each other and supporting the drive-through opportunity with Snake Oil, supporting remote entertainment, supporting any of our partners that are doing virtual until we come back live. So I think the Buy MPI is a great way to start.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm raising my hand to just continue on Erin. Also, when the market comes back, it's going to be regional first. So same thing by MPI.
Yeah, so stay local, stay here in our chapter.
It's interesting. Great way you started out. By MPI BY, obviously by us, our community here in San Diego, and also BUY by MPI is to support all of our members. So obviously we have to do business. Why not do business with fellow San Diego chapter members? And that way we continue the collaboration as a community. So by MPI, that was great the way it was done on there. So great job.
Thank you for joining us, Madeline. We love you.
And what do you have for continuing? What would you think is continuing our strength for MPI? Michelle, go. Michelle, go.
How about just staying really positive and supportive and kind of everything that everybody's going through right now? As we keep evolving, things change and people have different perspectives of those changes. So I think just an understanding of that and being kind and positive.
I think it's definitely going to be continuing on the education effort of the recovery of everything that all of our members are doing. So, across the board, from hotels to restaurants to venues to partners, we're all working towards this recovery and to share what you're doing in the recovery efforts. So nobody is having to reinvent the wheel because all of us are doing the same thing in the hospitality industry. So,
Like pandemic plans.
Definitely.
Yeah, helping each other find jobs when things start to turn around for those that lost them and don't get hired back.
Yeah, like share the network, share any leads you get, and keep an eye out, for your fellow members and help them where you can.
One thing that I wrote down was believing in other people's dreams and holding them dear right now. I feel like for some people in the industry, their dreams of like having, that big event, it can seem kind of far. So just being that like a hype person for someone, like, yeah, you can do it. And just believing in their dreams that they can pivot, they can, and holding space for those dreams.
Yeah, that's great. Being each other's cheerleaders, right?
Yeah, cheerleaders.
Yeah, being a cheerleader.
This is Kristen. There's been some great collaboration between businesses. Snake Oil is doing with some of their caterer partners and florists and things. And I think I'd just love to see that continue.
Yeah, maybe it's new collaborations are forming now. That maybe things that didn't pair up, are starting to come together. So that's great. Yeah.
This is Rachel. I would say staying connected, which we are all doing right this very second. We're staying connected with each other through MPI, through this event right now. And we're a strong chapter. And I think continuing to have the events and continuing attendance is really important to get through this time now and to thrive in the future when we have the connection. And even if this is all we do, logging on when we can, I think it's really important.
Yeah.
This is Milo, and I build on the last thing she said. I think this is also a good time for making connections. It's easy. It's great to stay connected with people we already have, but it's been wonderful when I've had meeting planners say to me, I have more time on my hands now to find out more about you. So, because I'm often too busy in the real world and things will get busy again. So it's been wonderful having time to talk with people who have a little more time on their hands for the future.
I think also it's great to, collaborate one another in this as partners to figure out, what are you hearing? Are you hearing that people are booking meetings for the fall? Are you guys hearing that people are, canceling everything for the year? Just curious to hear from others what they're experiencing on that front.
I could weigh in on some of that. This is Nathan. I'm in audiovisual concert touring festivals, so concert tours have pretty much canceled until 2021. All of our larger clients, Microsoft and Facebook, ones like that, they've canceled. Comcast, they've all canceled events until 2021. So we're heavy into the virtual world for this year. That's what we're planning and expecting for the rest of the year. We've had some smaller events for the fall kind of put us on the radar that they might have a small event, but that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, so pivot, as I guess you guys have done a lot of that.
It's
and
funny.
A fun one I heard for like another word to use in that place for people who are getting tired of pivot was do-si-do. So they're starting to do-si-do instead of pivot. If people thought that word has kind of come out too much, but that's great. You guys have found some solutions to, some of the things that's happened with COVID here.
Nathan, have you heard anything about, and I don't know if you're involved in Coachella, I have some events around that and I've been curious if that's going to be happening.
Yeah, we've done stuff for Coachella for many years, and our clients all canceled their Coachella things this year.
They did. Yeah.
I haven't heard anything official about October. To
Right.
be honest, I don't see it happening. I mean, obviously, you know how many people come together for that, and I don't see
Right.
that happening in October.
I know, us too. We still have one client holding out, so I'm really curious.
Yeah.
They're still acting like it's going for it. I'm like, really? Okay. But
Wow.
thanks for the insight on that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree.
So what about adding new normal? What's the new normal for us? We're going to be changing how we're thinking, or how we're doing events, from adding a different layer that we haven't added so far, health and safety of our guests, our venues or our food, how we're servicing, what we're doing. So that's a whole new other layer in how we're actually securing a safe event, a safe environment that our guests are going to feel comfortable.
And Alyssa, because I don't know, many people might not know, I'm representing a great DMC in Aruba and Curacao. And of course, they're in even a further situation in trying to get people to travel again internationally. But their whole community is coming together as an island because they have, very few cases, thank goodness. But the DMC there is really coming up with the full care package from the airport when you arrive, what they're going to give, how they're going to market it to their clients to feel safe. We have had requests for 2021 already. Interesting. There's a real struggle to get the information together right now as to, table setups. I had a corporate guy clueless the other day telling me rounds of 10, taking a lead. And I thought, sir, it's not going to be like that. And I hope you've prepared your budget accordingly. So those things is going to come a bit of cost.
That's right.
Yeah. Michelle Hardy put a great one in the chat. She put, be innovative. So, to continue showing our strengths, are we going to be, the MPI community that, shows innovation and kind of leads for MPI and MPI Global? I love that one.
I wanted to participate if I can. I don't, if you all can hear me. Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Johnson. I own a gift company and have been a member of MPI for a little over a year now. And it's nice to see some of the friends that I met at some of the mixers. So hi, gals. And I just wanted to let you know that I've been on different Zoom calls and things like that the last few weeks. And one of our big clients has a party every year for 1,000, and they can't have it this year. So my company, Pleasant Surprises and Branded Gifts, we created an event in a box, and they just ordered 500 of them yesterday. So what we're going to do, because we have a full service shipping department, so we're going to create a box, and then inside the box is all the event fun stuff, and they're going to be delivered to all all their homes, and we're going to ship them all out for them. And they're so excited because they did not know what to do with, since they can't have their party, but they still want to raise money. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to create an event in a box. So it's fun. I think we'll be doing more of that for people.
Hey guys, I was
I
going to
love
say
that idea. That's so cool. What kind of ideas did you put in the box?
We're licensed to sell champagne and wine, so we have champagne splits, and we have different like gadgets and things like that. And we're going to have a band that they're going to be streaming into everybody's homes. So they want people to move and dance. So we have things for that. We have, they're going to have dinner delivered. So we're going to have like linen napkins, things like that, just to set an ambiance for the evening in their home. So
That's
several
awesome.
different things. It's fun. It's been back and forth. And then they also have some of their things from their company that they want us to include. So we're going to include their items also. So.
one of the things that I think is really important right now is advocacy. And I'm not sure, just in a general sense, how we can do it. But I think that, just really having a seat at the table in the travel and tourism industry and in, with the mayor's task force and things like that, to really make sure that people understand, where the event industry is. And that it's not like a restaurant. Restaurants have their own really difficult challenges right now, but the event industry doesn't just pop back up in the same kind of way, especially being in phase 4. And so I think like some sort of PR press component with straight up advocacy can really get that on top of mind for people, that there are people in this industry that, that are really deeply affected, and that the whole industry is obviously very affected. I know people are thinking about that, but anything that we can do from the MPI side and from collectively as a group to say, these are how many employees we have collectively as a group. This is how much revenue we bring to the city as a group, or that we do. I mean, that'll help in a lot of different ways in the relief plans that the city and the county and the state are really looking at right now. And it's really, I think, the squeaky wheel kind of thing here, in that if we're not bringing it top of mind, we don't want to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, Michael, to echo that, I know many of us know or have heard of the Meetings Mean Business Coalition, and MMB was started after the 2008 recession, about the importance of what we do, and events certainly are part of that, but the title of the coalition is Meetings Mean Business. So using that hashtag whenever you're promoting or talking about things, because that is the central voice. Certain associations, and just so everyone knows, can't have a political voice because we are a 501c3. You cannot have a political voice.
Yep.
So there's times that you want to be that and you can't be. So you've got to have more of that advocacy side. And I love the PR element. I would almost, Terrell, put an exclamation point by that one, because I think that's huge of getting back out there and really promoting, and all of us being a part, not only of MPI as a community, but Meetings Mean Business to have that seat, and which speaks to the advocacy, because they're doing that on the Washington front.
Yep.
And for more of us to be a part of that, San Diego, and speak. And we're fortunate that we've got a mayor right now who really supports tourism. So
absolutely,
keeping that voice strong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
great.
And I was going to say that for you guys that don't know, for part of the industry, I think it was Stephanie that was asking about what's happening with the industry. The CDC has a mass gatherings kind of guidelines for mass gatherings. And one of the things I've been doing is coming up with an operational plan so that I'm prepared for when we start having meetings full force again, which I have meetings booked in summertime, not in San Diego. I'm a little worried. I have one in July in San Diego that I just don't think is going to end up happening. That hasn't canceled yet. But all the other meetings I have, I'm trying to be very cautious and think outside the box, using the CDC's guidelines and trying to get ahead of somebody coming in and saying, no, we want to cancel, we don't want to have it. If I can get ahead of it and say, look, if these follow the CDC's guidelines for mass gatherings, and this is what I'm doing to prepare, my clients now have been saying cancel. They're saying, okay, well, let's give this a shot. It's really thinking outside the box on room sets, and there's many hotels I've contacted to have them start setting up like room diagrams. So those of you that are on the hotel side, if you haven't done it, it would be helpful if you started thinking about setting up room diagrams where you have 6 feet around each person, what that looks like, and how many people you can fit in that space. Those are the things I'm doing to try to stay not only relevant, but have a seat at the table, so that when it does come time to people saying, we're going to pull a meeting, I now say, I have your safety, not only but your attendee safety in mind. I'm following CDC guidelines as well as the direct regional guidelines that are there. And here's what I've come up with to do it. So you can get ahead of this a little bit if you guys are looking at that. And it's literally, if you put in mass gatherings guidelines by the CDC into your Google search, you'll see that come up. And I'm Michelle Bartoloni. A lot of you guys don't know me as Michelle Hardy. I'm Michelle Bartoloni, got married, so now I'm Hardy. Nice seeing everybody.
Congratulations, Michelle. And actually, to piggyback on that, I don't know if any of you are aware of the Connect meetings, the sales conference, but they are planning on continuing to host their sales conference, which I typically attend their marketplace in August in New Orleans. They've shared their safety and social guidances with everyone that they're hoping is going to attend. Again, it's Connect meetings, so you can Google them. Maybe I'll look it up and I'll put it in the chat. They have a very interesting and very extensive list of all of the precautions and everything that they're taking, which is, I found very it's all very interesting. So I'll share the link and let y'all check it out yourselves. But gosh, you guys, I'd love to hear all this, all the chatter from everyone. It's so great. One thing that I hope you're all keeping in mind is the communication piece. If there's anything that I've learned from this whole thing, it is that the communication piece is important, and we don't want to be super repetitive, and we don't want to make it such that we're just kind of talking to talk. But at the same time, you do have to connect with your people. You have to connect with your audience and make sure that they understand your specific messaging. Like, sorry, MPI, we can't take an advocacy position because of our 501c3 status, but behind Meetings Mean Business Coalition, we're putting all of our efforts to help them with our whole industry. So I really just appreciate everybody chiming in and helping out. Thank you.
Yeah,
team.
you know, I was thinking around all this, and you know, there's different personalities deal with either with change pretty good, or some people just don't like dealing with change. One thing this has done is has definitely forced everybody to deal with this change. One of the key words I would love to see on this would be embracing the change. Whether you're for it or not, or you can deal with change or not, but embrace it. And obviously it ties in with the new norm.
Hey, Veronica, how can we help support the city? So what could MPI San Diego do to help support the city?
Definitely. So I think just continuing on, like I was saying earlier about the education. So we are, the San Diego Tourism Authority, a part of the mayor's recovery task force that we were talking about. So Madeline had kind of mentioned it earlier from her DMC or DMO standpoint, but we are working from the San Diego Airport Authority to working with our transportation company, our event venues, you know, our attractions, to make sure that we understand as a destination what each of these segments are doing, so we can push that out and really advertise to clients. When you fly into the airport, this is what the airport authority is doing. This is what our transportation companies are doing. And then just a trickle down effect from there, attractions, venues, our audiovisual companies, how they've pivoted to now make that hybrid of virtual meetings really easy, and what is setting each of our audiovisual companies apart. So I think it's really for us here at the San Diego Tourism Authority, just continue to keep us in the loop about what your efforts are, and know that we're trying to work from that regional destination aspect to pull all of that information together and put it out to everyone within the industry.
Awesome.
If you're not connected with anyone, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you have any questions, I can put my email address in the chat box as well.
Thank you, Veronica.
Of course, my pleasure.
Veronica, last time we did do a little task force of MPI in the hotels when the market was down, FYI, with the Bureau.
Perfect, I love it.
Yeah, who else has some ideas? Who wants to help close us out with this? We've got some great words on here to use for MPI San Diego going forward. You know, starting now and, you know, continuing. I think these are all great, you know, even post COVID-19. This is not just, you know, just our reaction to this. I think these are all things that we, you know, should be doing continually, you know, in the future. So who has some other points they would like to get on the board?
Hi, it's Kim. Hi, everybody. I love seeing everyone. I miss everybody. You know what? For me, it's eyes on the future, because we are going to, our companies, our clients, the convention, the travel world, we are going to be so desperate to connect and travel and have events and dance and go and eat at restaurants and have amazing events, that my eyes are to the future, that in a year or so, we are going to have an amazing industry. So everyone's craving it. And That's just how I feel. All my clients I've talked to cannot wait to come back to San Diego, to go on a cruise, to travel. And we're going to have saved a lot of dollars to do that. So my eyes are on the future.
Great one. Eyes on the future.
I like that.
One of the other ones is like unity is really big right now. I mean, just like the knowledge shares that we've received in the community, and people are just in the event world. Everybody's just sharing so much information and really supporting each other. So I think like just being a unified front has been really, really nice.
Amy, Tina, you guys have anything you want to add for us? Well, they're both on mute, so I don't know.
I think for me, the collaboration component is going to be huge. I mean, before everybody kind of wanted to hold on to their ideas, and I think sharing them and kind of making them our own as we get different pieces of information is only going to make all of us strong.
Yeah, great.
This is Milo again. One of the pieces that someone threw out at an ILEA meeting, and this may be common knowledge to people here, is but she said rather than having people cancel right off the bat on things, she said, before we cancel, just let me show you some options. And besides the online options, she said, I can sometimes lock in the 2021 or 2022 rates now if you don't cancel. Would you like that? Because they will probably go up as all the meetings and all the events start happening again. And she said about 30% of the time she was able to save the event and just change the date and then use this time to work with them on planning that event, even though it's way out.
Great, yeah. So everybody, are you guys happy with what Terrell has done here? Do you guys think this is a good depiction of, how we can say, MPI San Diego strong, in our community for going forward?
True artist. Looks beautiful.
Yeah. Carrie, I'd love to hear if anyone, and we've got a lot of past presidents, so thank you to the past presidents for joining tonight, but I'd love to hear kind of making this a little bit more centric on MPI. And I heard a lot of community and association and all of us together, but what can the board of directors is about to have their annual retreat? What can they put together? And Kim's idea for the future, what could, if we put this back to the MPI board, what can they do and provide for you all, or what can the leadership do? And maybe all of you will end up on leadership one day too. What can MPI itself do to keep our community strong?
Well, this is Victor speaking. One thing I like to know is, and it might require, will require a polling. I'd like them to get it as assess our membership to tell us if they don't do any events through the end of 2020, will they still be in business by 2020? So I'd like to know by January 1st, 2021, what percentage of our members will be out of business or deciding to go into out of whatever business they're in and maybe end their job and start a job that where they work for someone else. So I'd be curious to know what that's going to look like.
Okay, so a member survey, that's good. We haven't done a local member survey in a really long time. There's probably some good questions we could ask.
Honestly, and I don't know that I'd go quite as bold as Victor just said, but I think what we need to find out is how long can you really survive? I mean, if it doesn't come back, how do you retool and what are you doing? I was on another network call. I listened to another DMC completely retool their product line to new services. So I think we could use some think tank help from our board, and especially people work that are our members. How do they retool themselves? So what could we provide there?
A great word, retool. I like that. It's a great way to think about it.
There has got to be more out there. I know it. So if you are, whether you are newer to the chapter, you have been around for a while, you have no idea what we're talking about when we say retreat, please, we are, like Aaron said, your board of directors, the people that lead this organization, are going to be meeting at the end of this month to set the goals for the next term. And please know that our goals are going to be more than let's just keep the doors open. But we do want to hear from you all, and we need to know what you want from this board to create, to innovate, to inspire you for the next term. So please speak up.
So I think, this is Michelle Bartoloni Hardy again. So I feel like having tangible resources to help us be able to vision and move forward into the new, whatever that new normal is going to be, would be very helpful. I think like having I brainstorm with colleagues really on Zoom every night. That's been my saving grace, is doing that with alcohol, and we come up with some great ideas on, how to do stuff better in the future. I think we're a powerful community, all of us, and I think the more people you bring to the table that can share their ideas about how to do this, and from an MPI standpoint, you guys being forward thinking to present that, like, here's some of the ways that we think this could happen going forward to help set some standards so that we're not all having to do it individually and figure out and navigate this. To me, that would be a gigantic force.
That's great. Well, I think we have a great picture here and some ideas for you guys to go forward. Terrell, thank you very much. I think the comments in here on those chat box are saying they all love it. They love the colors. They love what we've come up with, what you've done here. So thank you very much for taking this on for our chapter today.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Great talent. I love it.
So we have a couple minutes. I know people have talked about some things, that are coming up. So we have a few more minutes if people want to just, have some free chat and while we're finishing off their drinks.
Well, just one more thing. I have a tentative event. It was an event scheduled in March. When the coronavirus thing hit, they moved it to September 1st. It's still a go. I have another event in October, another event in November, and one possibly in December. So far, all those events are tentative goes, and we can use those as litmus tests as we get closer and the event planners decide to hold the event. That'll be early key as to if the industry is coming back to life, so to speak. And I can report back as to what did they implement as far as masking, social distancing, and so forth. So.
And I have ones in June, July, August, September, none in October, and then onward. So I'm wondering if my June ones are going to go forward or not. So far, they haven't wanted to cancel. So I've been strategizing and coming up with those operational, I call it an operational safety plan. But you wouldn't believe the setup I have. The one that's June is a 550 person program in Orlando. And so how I end up making that happen, I don't know yet. I'm being very creative about it. I'm hoping they get to be, the mass meeting directive will be in the 250 range. So I break it down to 250 people. But it could be that you, like right now in San Diego, you can't gather at all. So I'm in Florida, you can have gatherings for up to 10 people right now. That's supposed to change, and it may go to 50, and then from 50 to 250, I hope it gets to. So things are changing rapidly, but if you watch the CDC and the local government guidelines, they'll tell you when those numbers are changing so you know how to structure your meetings.
So can I ask you, let me ask you, you are going completely by their call. What does your company feel? And I mean, I've heard, that where companies are just sitting there waiting for the government to call the shot, but no talk within about safety of your people or that?
Yeah, so no, when I say operational safety plan, we took the CDC's guidelines and we have implemented those into meetings. So what it looks like on, like, just at a broad view right here to tell you is that we are setting up, instead of saying 3 per 6 feet, we have 1 person per 6 foot table, and we have a 6 foot parameter around each of the people. Not to mention the front of the area where you need it for the audio visual. Instead of having 1 general session, we have 4 general sessions. We'll be having 1 speaker in 1 room, and then we're video casting the speaker into the other rooms. It's the only way to do it because you have to maintain 6 feet distance. We have masks we're handing out. We have hand sanitizers. For the food, we're doing boxed food for everybody. So nobody has to touch anything, and the boxes are being brought into each of the individuals. For the breakout rooms, people no longer rotate through the breakout rooms. I have my speakers rotating, and I have the hotel coming in, and they're re-sanitizing the speaker microphones and the tables every time they do a rotation, which is a lot easier than moving all of the people. I have 500 people moving around. That would be a lot more difficult. So these people stay in the same desk, the same table the entire time. Snacks
That's
are brought
interesting, Michelle.
So
breaks
that
and
makes it sanitary, and they've now.
yeah, so I have really come up my operational kind of safety plan that we have been strategizing on since this thing started, knowing that we will not meet ever again the way we have met, and the only way that I could see my business going forward is thinking outside the box about how looking at these guidelines aren't going to change much. They're going to increase in numbers, but we're living this for a while. How can we have our meetings, face-to-face meetings, which are very, very valuable? I am offering
Michelle,
some hybrid too.
are you guys, do you have a contingency also, like to have those people lining up every 6 feet apart as you let them in the room, so they don't, you know, get up together and they have to leave it, like I would assume in a 6 feet organized fashion?
No, there's not. Let me just tell you, there's not a break time. There's not breaks. The breaks are brought into them. So if they have to go to the bathroom, they individually get up and go to the bathroom. They have masks on for that. So it's not. That's not a concern with the turnover, because they are at the same desk the whole time. They're not moving. The speakers are moving. So
Right.
it's a different way to look at that all the way around. Same with the food. The breakfast is being brought into them. It's breakfast in a box. It's lunch in a box. And then for registration, what I'm doing is I take, and depending on the number of people, I'm assuming that in June, my number is going to be 249, because the mass gatherings is 250 or more. So I'm assuming it's going to be 249 people. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a breakdown of the alphabet, depending on who's registered in what letters, and I'm giving them a time spread. So we'll be doing registration starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so we're flying everybody else out a day earlier. And so during that hour, we'll say, let's say A through C would have, you know, like, that's like 100 people. And we do it every hour, so you spread them out. And then we have tape on the ground we're putting back every 6 feet. So if there is to be more than just a few people there, everybody's kind of spread out. So it's a different way of looking at all of that. We also are not providing them much material any longer at the registration. Most of the stuff sent to them in advance, including the name badges. So the only purpose of registering is to check in that they are there. And then we also are taking temperatures before they walk into a room. We have room monitors in front of every room that's taking temperatures. If your temperature's above 100, you can't be there.
So Michelle, this is Ioana. I just want to thank you for that information. What I'm thinking is, what does everybody think about having a conversation specifically for particularly what you're going through right now, Michelle? Because I think this is wonderful information that we're all want to know about, and we can set this up so we can all discuss more in detail and have some questions to allow for an hour or hour and a half of conversation. Does everybody feel we should circle back with a conversation in the coming week or so?
I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do a little research, you know. One thing, you know, as she's really into the CDC and watching that close, I do know that I saw a guidelines for Marriott for food and beverage. The troubles with some of the hotels certainly is the chef and some of the catering aren't there. So yeah, there are some things now starting to come out, guidelines. I also have a hysterical video from Bangkok on the new meeting.
I bet that would be really fun.
So I'm going to share another document that was actually found by one of my students on the MPI website. And I know there's so many resources out there, but MPI does actually have a lot already created. MPI Global started a Google Doc, and not to say that we can't create our own or copy it and make it a San Diego version, but it's a Google Doc that they've had people add, kind of like Michelle had some ideas. I also look at it from the attendees' perspective. Is this creating still the environment that they would want to go if you're a optional attendee versus a required attendee? You know, what's that going to look like from the attendee experience perspective? But I'll share a Google Doc in this chat here, but when we do another chat again, maybe it's creating a Google Doc together as this think tank of kind of our joint best practices.
So I have I've included my email address in the group chat. For anyone who is still on, please copy that email address. Send me any ideas you have as to what you'd like to see from your board of directors for the next term. And if you have any ideas as to social hours or think tanks or things like that that you would like to see in the very immediate future, please let us know. We'd be happy to organize those. There are a couple of things that we as a chapter want to share with you that are coming down from global, that we are talking internally about, that as a region, you know, we're discussing. I think one thing that might really be important, and I hope people are thinking about it while we're focusing on staying local, is that, you know, if there's any time to virtually do an event with someone, it's now. So I know, you know, the San Diego chapter and the Orange County chapter, we're looking at some virtual co-hosted events. This will be a great opportunity for us to have a San Diego speaker, an Orange County speaker, and share that education. So there are some things that we can do to connect with each other that isn't solely regional and allows us to make those connections with our meeting peers. So we'll definitely continue to push that stuff out to you all and let you know how that goes. And again, thank you for this conversation, because we will certainly take this and break it out into a much bigger conversation, probably a think tank of sorts. So we really appreciate all the information. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add before we kind of wrap this up?
Don't forget the MPI San Diego Professional Development is May 19th. You can register. It's free for members, so register. And I see Lorena raised her hand. She's a first-time attendee for everything. So
actually, I just want to introduce myself. I'm pretty much new in here. My name is Lorena Pinto, and I work at the lodge at Torre Pines, you know, so if I have any news when it comes to hotels, I'll let you know. And also, I just opened my event planning business right before the virus came up. So I would like to be more connect more with you, which of you, if possible, and know a little bit more MPI. And hopefully, if I have any other, you know, if I have some ideas, and hopefully we can in the future collaborate. I really like the idea of collaboration. I think everybody has a lot to win with that. So that's all what I want to say for now. And if I have any ideas, I will let you know.
well, welcome, Lorena. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, I really appreciate.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We've run a little bit over, so we don't want to keep you. I saw Kristen made another cocktail, but yeah, so it looks like her party's going to continue. But thank you all for joining us and you know, helping us collaborate today.
Everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Stay well.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Terrell.
Oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Okay. Terrell, are you going to put your artwork somewhere so we can see it for permanent?
Absolutely. I'm actually going to save it as a PDF right now,
Thank
and
you.
Even a time-lapse video that I'll send. I'll
Thank
send.
you.
Wait, I think I was going to send it to Erin. Is that still
perfect? That's perfect.
Such talent. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for letting me join. All right.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you, Snake Oil.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's
You guys are all
Rihanna.
amazing. Thank you, Snake Oil. Thank you, Terrell.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, everyone.
Erin. Erin,
Yes, I'm here.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for getting me in finally. I
You're
don't know
welcome.
what I do wrong with it, but I wanted to just say thank you.
Yeah, no, it must be going to your junk, the confirmation.
I don't know. It happens every single time. So
Yeah.
thank you. And thanks for sending over that. I haven't seen that MPI thing. So
I know most of their stuff is so hidden. You kind of have to dig for a lot of it. And if I weren't on 45 hours of MPI conference calls every week, I probably
Yeah,
wouldn't
if
have.
we didn't know this from having been on MPI for this is like 20 years, we wouldn't know all this stuff there. We'll definitely make it a lot easier. Maybe we can put some stuff on the website that just connects you guys directly to what's on the MPI global website, because they do not make it easy for people that are not super familiar with the website to find pretty much anything.
Or if you don't want to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig.
Yeah, I can't find half the stuff, so I have to ask Erin, and it's and I'm president, so I mean I can't imagine anyone else able to find it.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Michelle. This was fun. I hope everybody had a good time.
I think they did.
I think so.
My office is starting to get hot. It's like cool during the day, and then when the sun sets, like it gets
I'm starting to get hot. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, you have a jacket on.
Well, I know, but it's
So thanks for taking the time today, Alyssa and Aaron. I know it was a hectic day for you, so you're amazing as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Alyssa, do you want to stay on and chat for a second?
Sure. But I want to thank you. Oh, she left before I got to say hi. Yeah. We're hot. I don't know why. What's up?
What's next week? Well, I'm just wondering, like, while we're all still here, that think tank idea is a good idea.
So one of the things that I was talking about with OOP on our call on Wednesday was something that I had talked with Stephen Foster about when I talked with him about, global finances and stuff. And he really encouraged the town hall concept, which I wasn't originally a huge fan of because, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the MPI Global town halls, because what I really wish they would do is kind of sit down the presidents or OOPs and executive directors and sit us down and explain stuff first, and then kind of make it a more broad, like,
right?
Like, hello.
Or ask first.
Right.
Which I think the chapter's done a good job of that.
I'd like to think that we're trying, to do a good job of doing that, but I wasn't so super. I don't know why it took people so long to get off, but yeah, I was.
No, I just did that. They were two. I think they must have just walked away from their computers or something.
Yeah.
So I put them in a waiting room.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wasn't really too excited about, like, oh yeah, let me just host a bunch of town halls and tell our chapter that Global has not been fiscally responsible for God knows how long, and I'm really sorry that I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That any of us didn't know that, and as a result, they're holding back our money, and obviously we can't say all of that. So
yeah, I think you need to just be like, hey, I know we may not be getting the messages, but let's just talk local and make it like buzz over MPI Global and just keep MPI San Diego, MPI San Diego, MPI San Diego. And I think you can do it, and maybe you do the think tank first. And I know Spencer said he wanted to wait till after retreat to get the past presidents together, and maybe the past presidents aren't the best. Maybe it's a group of people.
So one of the
Hey, Dana.
Hi, Dana.
I was on earlier and then I got a call from work, so I had to jump off. So I was like, oh, there's still 4 more minutes. I'll jump right back on.
So everyone just kind of jumped off. Alyssa and I are just chatting.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm stressed.
You are? What's going on?
I have a lot. So like the first week or so that this all started happening with COVID, I was like worried I was going to lose my job. And then literally everyone and their mom basically decided they were going to pivot to virtual for the events that we were working on. So it's just been like a learning curve for me to figure out how to help them, but then also like managing now all the random things that are popping up.
Mm-hmm.
And then my director basically is just utilizing me for like lots of other projects because events weren't really a thing. And so she was trying to kind of like protect me. So it's just been a lot.
I know, it's so hard. Like some of the stuff that like you feel like you're doing less work but doing more work.
Oh yeah, and it's like all day long. I wake up at like 6:30 and then I'm literally still working. I'll like take an hour or 2 hours off at like 5 and then I start again.
Yeah.
At 8. So it's just been.
And I don't know about you, but I feel like I keep getting back to the same spot. I'm like, whoa, I'm here again. Like it's not as accomplished.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of, and one of my friends texted me today, Alyssa, you know Jen, and she's like, just another day long of unnecessary phone calls.
Oh my God, yes.
And you're like, yep, I get it. I mean, I was on the flip side, I was on from 8:30 today until 3:30 right before we started this with student final presentations. They present to me every 20 minutes. So that was exhausting, but at the same time, super motivating because they're so naive. And they were all very like inspiring and motivating and like, I'm going to change the world. And they were like, I loved it.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to be like, oh.
I know.
Sorry.
It's kind of sad too, because you're like,
I know.
People who have 20 years experience are getting furloughed right now. It's really hard to try to break that down.
I know one of them was like, I think I'm going to start my own business. And I was like, not.
Oh yeah, someone said that to me recently. They
Not
were like,
probably the best time. I mean, if you've got like a genius idea, yes, do it. I don't mean to bust anybody's bubble, but yeah, it's interesting. I feel you. There's a
wedding planning right now.
Right.
Planning company right now. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. Well, let us know what we can do. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, I mean, it'll be good. I'm grateful that, so I like to be busy. It's just been like this week has just been like a kick in the ass. I just want Saturday to be here. But it's all
24 hours away, right? Like,
right, exactly.
Think about it. Like, I have to make it through the next 24 hours and then it's Saturday.
And then nobody will bother me at least for like a day.
Kind of, yeah. I've actually been coming in on Saturdays, which is because I have kids at home, and so it's easier for me. I'll come in on Saturday so I can get away from home.
Yeah.
I had a sitter from 8 to 6 today, and I'm going to sit here for another 45 minutes.
No, that makes sense to me. I'm lucky. I
because
guess,
she's there until 6.
Right. I have friends who have children. I don't have any, and they're just like telling me about how my one friend's son is 2 years old and he threw a Slinky at her face mid-conference call. I was like, I don't know how you didn't just flip out. And you can't, obviously, because you're their mom, but I guess I'm grateful.
Yes. Yeah. And that, I mean, going into so many things, Alyssa, like talking about work, like there's so many parents that all of a sudden it's like, it doesn't make me a bad professional because I can't ignore my kids. It doesn't make me a bad mom because I'm
right.
Like you can't, like it's hard to do both. And so I can't work 50 hours a week because it's just hard to.
Right.
And so I do have to wake up like super early in the morning to get through some of my emails before 9 o'clock when all of a sudden it's like, I want a bagel, I want a this. And so the 8 to 5 isn't 8 to 5. It's, you know, I gotta work super fast, do the homeschool, and my kids are in 1st and 3rd grade.
Oh.
So they're old enough to manage. Like I can tell my 1st grader, go make your own cereal. And she may be able to, but she sometimes doesn't want to. So
right, totally. But the graphic recording, I mean, I got to see a lot of that.
Yeah, no, Tara does a good job.
It was really cool.
So she did that for one of my clients, and we did 1 year over the next year, and that was pretty cool to see what, and everyone, it was the what promise can you make? It was a group of business professionals that were a very similar like member organization.
Yeah.
So it was what promise can your business make to grow our organization? And everyone made a promise, and then the next year it was, did you keep your promise? And that was pretty cool to see. So if you want our information, I'm gonna put it in the chat.
We actually have one that works, a graphic recorder that works for my company. So we've done things like this for our events. So, but I always love to see, because the style is always a little bit different depending on the person. And hers was, I mean, I feel like she's an artist, so it's her specific art. Yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Fun.
So Alyssa and I were just talking about if we do another event like this and what it would look like if it would be more, because we've done a couple brainstorming ones. Dana, have you been on any of the other ones we've done?
No, that was my first one I was able to make. Yeah.
So we've had a couple brainstorming ones, and one of them was what resources, or I forget the first question we had was like, what resources, or we went around like everyone did one comment, and it was 6 weeks ago, right? Because we did it pretty fast. I think we've been doing them every other week, and that was good. Like one guy posted a insurance page. One person posted it was right when PPP was coming out.
Right.
So that was a good one to keep people connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're fairly tapped as a leadership. And Alyssa, you know, I talk about out of both sides of my, you know what, where I'm like, we're too busy doing one thing, but then we should do it again because we've got strong momentum.
Yeah.
And if we do gala, shut down, and wait, our old method, it's not going to work because people are moving fast right now.
Yeah.
And although we don't want to over program because people are kind of going bonkers, like Dana's saying, like you've got a little bit much. But at the same time, if it's optional and free, like we had 71 people sign up for today.
Yeah.
And only 44 dialed in. So there's like a big attrition because we're not charging and people can. So
Right.
like, why not keep it if we get 50 that sign up? And as long as we have like a concept and a grab, and I don't, or unless somebody gives me the authority to be like, or if Dana with communications, like, here's our graphic, here's
Yeah.
the time, here's who's leading it. It's easy for me to physically send out. It's just about getting that like couple basics.
Yeah.
That we could do another one of these and just call it straight think tank. And I know this one was called brainstorming, so maybe it's called something else. Maybe it's what did Michelle Hardy keep calling it? Her something operations plan or
I think I caught part of that.
Plan or something like that.
yeah.
So I think I feel like I'd almost like to get a town hall, 1 or 2 scheduled. We're talking about even breaking it up between planners and suppliers and trying, kind of going off of the whole planners breakfast and suppliers breakfast thing. So talking about, how important MPI is and that we need you to show up and be part of the table discussion and yada, 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 and the suppliers are going to and whatever. But and also turning this around, because it sounds like the planners need the guidance for how to plan events, and the suppliers are just trying to figure out how to meet whatever, parameter the planners are going to set. So if we maybe do a planners, a planners town hall, this is the MPI situation, this is kind of what we want to talk about and put out to you all, then do it with suppliers, then get like the past presidents together and have a, hey, this is what we all talked about today, this is what the retreat just came out of, and then see if we can strategically map some stuff out and then bring all the folks back together for like a San Diego town hall of sorts and a chapter outlook. Here's what we're doing, stick with us.
Yeah. Can I ask you what, and I should know this as a planner, but like what style would a town hall be? Would that be like you all kind of panel speaking, or what would that agenda look like town hall style? Just the board saying, here's what's going on and here's what's new, like a state of the industry or state of the chapter, or how would that schedule?
So, I mean, if we were going to do it in a true like town hall format, then yeah, maybe something like a OOP introduction and a state of global really quickly, focus on the state of San Diego state of mind or whatever we want to call it. And here's what here's the reality of the chapter. Here's why MPI San Diego or MPI SD Strong is out there, yada, yada, yada. And then pivot to or switch over to now we've kind of told you what's going on and what we need from you. Please tell us what you need from us, because this is our opportunity to go back and make changes to our business plan, pivot our strategies, create new content or create new event opportunities for you all to take advantage of, but we want to hear from you. So
yeah,
like a 2-part thing.
Yeah, I like that. And I think you can do like very, talk about the things that we're all talking about. Here's MPI Global is a ton of resources, and without throwing them under the bus, which is easy for us to want to do, it's just MPI Global's got a ton of resources. How can we take those resources and make them more focused and centralized for you? Here's what we know right now. And I think the true, candid, direct, and again, without throwing global under the bus, is, hey, you all are smart enough to know that in order to keep an organization running, just like a business, we've got financial, we usually charge for events, we charge for membership. We want to continue being able to be these resources, and you can use our 3 pillars, which Dana is the go-to organization for business development, or professional development, business opportunities, and personal growth, right? So it's like I think those are the 3. Basically, it's basically narrowing it down. It's education, networking, and for your business. So for you, yourself, for your business, and then for the professional development. So if you go with those three things, and we want to still be able to provide those three resources, which if we show that graphic, it says, you know, we also provide communication. On there was education, you know, and how we can do that, and talk about here's what the old looked like. I actually had a student today present something, and I loved the way she put it. She put what was, what is, and what will be. And she was interviewing people. She's like, this is what we were,
right,
what it is right now, and this is what it will be. And I think you could almost use that from a chapter perspective. This is how the chapter has been for 40 years. This is how we are right now. And right now could just be the
reaction.
What are we doing?
Right.
And you help us with the what will we be element.
Yeah, actually, we could almost make it funny. Like, here's what was, here's what is, and it could just be like everyone running around with their hair caught on fire. That's the slide, right? What will be is
like a car on fire and somebody, yeah.
Right, just something so ridiculous. Oh, oops, didn't mean to show that slide. Bring things out, obviously, because we're awesome.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, and I think keeping it small and focused, and because you know the amount of people that actually engage are probably about 100. I do, and I had actually written that down too. I love Victor's idea of the survey, and what made me think of it is I did a call yesterday or the other day with CVent about our CVent renewal, which our CVent renewal is due July 1st. And I said to her, I was like, I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but are you charging me more? Or are you charging me less? And she said, it'll be the same. Don't worry. And I was like, okay, good. Let's continue the conversation. But one of the features we have is we have that survey tool within CVent, which we only use once a year when we pick our community outreach, when we do that. And we used to use it for our member survey. We stopped doing our member survey when Global was like all about their member survey.
Right.
So, you know, maybe there's a time that we come up with 10 super simple questions, you know, a couple demographic questions together, and then a couple super key ones. And Dana, if the communications team runs that, or with membership, I can run the questions we used to do.
Yeah.
And just super quickly modify what we'd ask. So Alyssa, maybe we could do that before the town hall and blast that out fast.
Yeah.
You could do it on, I mean, Twitter has like survey options too. If you wanted it to be, I don't know what our rate usually is on responses to surveys, but that's another option to consider.
Yeah, no, so the good one about CVent, and I've never used Twitter, and I told her, I said, if you're going to charge me for the surveys, we'll get rid of it because there's so many survey options out there now.
Right, like SurveyMonkey.
Yeah, but they do a really good like graphic to it, and it also pulls from our existing database.
Right.
We could do it as a member survey, or we could just do it as because Dana, just so you know, we have like 300 some members in our database from the like San Diego members.
Yes.
But we have a database of like 8,000 emails. So as you and I start talking about communications, I can say, all right, are we sending this out members only or to everybody?
Yeah.
We try to not spam everyone.
Right.
And we try to be really strategic with our member communication. But maybe it's something that we do.
Everyone. Yeah.
Ask everyone.
Yeah.
You know, MPI is trying to support San Diego. Tell us what you think. And one of the questions could be, are you a member or not? I don't know.
Oh, that's a good, I like that idea.
And it might be helpful for them if we ask, I guess it depends on how anonymous the survey is, but if we were to ask if they were a member, and then would you be interested if we wanted, you know, get about membership or whatever, it would just give us another prospecting list.
Yeah, for sure. But going back to you chatting with everyone too, depending if we're before or after we've done budget, you could say, you know, oh God, I know this is so hard of that whole like charging local versus global. And Dana, just letting you in on random conversations we've had, and I don't know if you're aware, but global is pulling the funds that we get as a chapter locally.
Oh, geez.
So when you pay global, we used to get a percentage of that money. And because Global is having such a financial crisis right now, they have told the chapters, hey, sorry, but
Yeah.
we're not giving you any money right now. And that sucks huge.
Yeah.
We're recording this. Can you make sure off the
Yeah.
gonna be able